She's just a fabulous woman that's opened doors and given opportunities to so many people. So there's a lot of people that's just going to be dripping in gratitude for this lovely lady, and we're delighted to have her tonight. Please welcome to the stage Annik, ladies and gentlemen.
Who's old enough to remember what happened in 1989?
Berlin Wall.
Yes, the Berlin Wall. And look, I'm sure we all have our own walls, right? But in 1989, it was the Berlin Wall that went down. And my childhood hero, Michael Gorbachev, he was the guy using his voice for good that eventually caused the wall to come down. His perestroika politics and his glasnost politics, like really granting journalists the freedom to not only share what the state wanted to share, but to share the truth and to share real stories. And any East Germans here in the room? No one. Interesting, I'm the only one. So it was a weird country because living behind the wall, we didn't really have much of the exciting Western stuff. We didn't really have a lot of chocolate, we didn't really have a lot of sweets, and we didn't really have a lot of bananas or oranges either. It's quite ridiculous, but even now to this day, when I see a queue of people, and you see queues all the time in England, right? But when I see a queue of people, my first thought is, are they selling bananas? Because whenever they sold bananas, whenever Fidel Castro had a really good day and he's like, oh, let's send some bananas to East Germany, you know, people would queue. And I was quite lucky. I had a brother and a sister, so the more kids were in the family, the more bananas you got. Fascinating stuff. But now there are bananas everywhere, thanks to Michael Gorbachev. And the other fascinating thing, I will share some speaking tips with you guys, I promise. But let me really stick with the bananas a little bit more. There's something in bananas that actually really helps your nervous system to calm down. Because my friends, for example, from the College of Public Speaking, we were running an event at the same venue, and when I walked past their room, I looked at all the seats, and I was like, what the hell? On every seat there was a banana. And this is when they explained to me, it's actually really calming for your nervous system. So if you're one of those people who's like, oh my God, you know, I hate speaking, I get so nervous, have a banana. And my favorite fact, you can share this on Facebook and just say you heard it from Annik. So after 1989, guess which condom flavor outsold all other flavors in East Germany? Banana flavor, right? But let me really get serious here. When I heard Michael Gorbachev, and you know, it's talking about the way he changed politics, and he was using his voice for good, and I just felt so inspired. Then years later, when I thought, okay, you know, let's be a good person, use your voice for good, start speaking up for things like years ago for me, it was recycling. And I have a quick shout out. Do you remember the first time you had to go on stage, give a presentation, or just share an update at work? Who remembers how they felt? Let's have some shout outs. How did you feel?
Terrible.
Terrible?
Yeah, like terrified, just like
terrified.
They're gonna eat you up.
Yes, they're all gonna eat you up. What else?
Sick.
Started to mumble.
Say again?
Started to mumble.
Oh yeah, starting to mumble. Like, it's hilarious what happens to our bodies, right? So I stood there, I had to give a presentation at university, and it was about genetic modified organisms, out of all things, right? And I remember I sat there, probably like a room this size, 40 people, and when they called my name, I walked to the front of the room and I turned around, and guess what happened? Everything blurred. I felt like no one was there. It was this like sea of like blurriness, and I knew there were people because I was sitting right between them before, right? And then my heart started going, and then my hands started sweating. I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Am I dying? Legs, you know, legs shaking. It was horrendous. And remember, I'm German. Control freak. I wasn't in control of what was happening to me, and that was really the day. And I probably even actually, in addition to that, I probably blushed like a genetically modified tomato. If anyone, gets to blushing, oh, horrendous. So over the years, there are a number of things I felt can really help, like making you better at that speaking thing. And I'm going to share 3 with you. And number 1 is, and this might be a surprise to some of you, but you must get over your shit. And not only the nerves, not only the speaking, fear of rejection, there's so much stuff we carry with us. When Alex was sharing his story, like there was so much suppressed stuff that happened, and we do it without knowing, right? And I'm not saying you all need to have a therapist, but maybe I am saying that. I have been doing this work for a number of years, and I still see my hypnotherapist, or, what other forms of therapy are there? I'm sure we have some therapists and coaches in the room. Just shout some out. Coaching, what else?
Tapping.
Hypnotherapy.
Energy mindset.
NLP.
Meditation.
Yeah, meditation. There's so much. Just find the right thing for you that will help you getting over your stuff. And number 2 is, you've got to, and I'm saying this to myself as well, you've got to stop comparing yourself to other people. We always do it, but there will always be someone thinner than you, richer than you, in your opinion more beautiful than you. I like to be funny when I'm speaking, but there might be someone who's funnier than me tonight, and I just get some pity laughs from you guys. I take that. And the 3rd thing is, and that's my favorite, it's start before you think you're ready. I don't know for how many years I was wishing and hoping, I wish I could, I wish I would, and I never did. And even when I started Speaker Express in 2011, my business partner, Elliot, he has more than 6,000 hours of experience as a speaker, and I was always the event organizer. I was busy straightening the chairs, like I'm busy, I can't speak. And he was the one, he really kicked my ass at some point, and he was swearing at me. I'm not going to repeat that, but it helped, and then I started speaking really badly, terrible. Like one of my first gigs was at City Library, and still to this day, I feel sorry for the people in the audience. But you gotta give yourself permission to just be really shit. And only this will really be your driving force to get better. And I have to say, thank you to Elliot. I wouldn't do what I do if he wouldn't be the one kicking my ass. And really, with our Speak Express community, that's what we want to do for other people, right? Being this gentle kick up the ass. And it's really one of those things, you're ready now. And I always say to people, you are perfect now, even though you will continue to improve forever. Right? And for all the ones out here, you might be speaking already, what is important for you guys is, we always say, if you want to be a speaker highly in demand, you got to have a solid signature talk and a really clever profile building strategy. Sometimes people come to us and they're like, Annik, how do I get signed by an agent? Or, how will a speaker bureau take me on? It was like, they will take you on once your profile is high enough. You go to them and say, oh my God, I'm having so many speaking gigs, help me to deal with them. This is when they want you, right? So don't know when it was, a couple of years ago, I was in a bar or in a cafe. I don't really go to bars, it must have been a cafe. And I was flicking through one of those magazines, the glossy magazines you find in Mayfair. And there he was. A photo of Michael Gorbachev, my childhood hero. And it wasn't a story about him or about his life. It was a photo of him sitting in a London cab, and he had a piece of luggage. And that piece of luggage was Louis Vuitton. So it was an advert for Louis Vuitton. And you know what my first thought was? The communist mind I grew up in, right? It was like, he sold out to the enemy. And then I looked again and I was like, no, kudos to him for so many years, he used his voice for good, and now he's using his power for himself. And that's the last thing I'd love to leave you with. And that is to fall in love with public speaking has nothing to do with the actual fact that you should fall in love with public speaking. It's all about falling in love with yourself. And value yourself enough that you're still proud of yourself even when you screw up. And that was Annik. Thanks very much. Who hates doing those exercises with other people in a group? Yeah? We're going to do exactly that. What I want you to do is share for 1 minute something you wouldn't normally share with people when you meet them for the very first time, right? Now, give me some shout-outs, like why do you think we're doing that?
Connect.
Connect.
It's a standard cult disorientation.
Is it? You must have a lot of experience. I don't. But it could be, yes, trust me, having a German shouting at you, not very pleasant. You have to like share your deepest secrets. Like go as deep as it feels right? Because the more present you can be without, all the stuff you feel like, oh, I need to hide and they mustn't find out, that will make all the difference. Do I look fit?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, thanks. So, years and years and years ago, when I was 9 years old, I basically was in the local neighboring town and with my grandma, and remember I was 9, and we met one of her friends, and he looked at me, and then he said to my grandma, "Is she anorexic?" And I was 9. I had no idea what he meant, but then later when I found out what that actually meant, for so many years, I would always cover everything possible. I would cover my arms, I would cover my legs, and when I started speaking, part of the fear was because when people looked at me, I thought they see this weird skeleton. See, this is my closet. The skeleton just went out of the closet. So, for some of you hearing this, you might be thinking, okay, big deal. But for me, it's just something I just never wanted people to find out, and I never want anyone to look at me and say, oh, she looks gross or disgusting, right? So that was my minute, thank you. Now, you can give me a clap. If you don't remember anything from what I said, please remember this. No matter who you are, and no matter what you do, there will always be someone hating you for it. You can put so much effort into something. Like whenever I walk into an audience or into a new room, if I know there are 100 people there, I know there will be 4 of them. No matter what I do, they won't like me. And that's okay. Just always remember that. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, there will always be someone not liking you. Just be the real you and let them hate you for who you really are. Thank you. Anyone in the audience who thinks, I really want to understand more of this speaking thing, or I'm speaking already and I want to take it to the next level, every other month we run a 1-day training, and it's all about creating a signature talk, your brand message, how to get booked, work on your confidence, and how to build your profile. And every quarter we raffle out a free ticket. So if you'd love to be looked, there's like manifesting energy in this room. Just give me your card, give me your details, and you might be the lucky one. That's what we do.
Lovely. Let's hear it for Annik one more time, ladies and gentlemen.